Joining us now with more on this amazing woman is Professor Emeritus and former Dean at Iona University, Alexander Eodice. And Professor, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, Bill. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's get right to it. Let's talk about the big picture first. What's this legacy? I mean, she's an amazing woman in how she dealt with her husband when he was sick and dying, and how she took care of her career and what became of her.
Well, it's an incredible example of what can be achieved in the face of real controversy. I mean, there was controversy even about her appointment initially, and her incredible approach, not just to the court, but to, I think, life in general.
Yeah.
You know, to hear her talk about her pragmatic attitude, her pragmatic approach to not just decisions, but to life, set an example. And certainly, you know, we've heard the word trailblazer, set an example for our nation and made it possible for women to achieve what prior to her appointment seemed very untenable.
You know, it's interesting. We saw her while you were talking. We saw her sitting next to Barry Goldwater, right? And early on, that was kind of interesting. Some former senator who ran for president against Lyndon Johnson. And then we just saw her on Time magazine where it said "Justice at Last," which was, you know, a great slogan on that Time magazine for her. And we had Ronald Reagan. You know, who would have thought that Ronald Reagan was going to be the first president to appoint a woman to the high court, just like people wouldn't think that Richard Nixon became the person that opened up the United States to China again.
And President Reagan did say he would appoint a woman.
Yes, he did. Yep.
But what's even more interesting is that he appointed this particular woman, a woman who, while conservative in many respects politically, aggravated the far right even before she was confirmed. Their argument was she's not conservative enough. But President Reagan, bold as he was, took the opportunity to appoint somebody who was eminently, I think, reasonable, who understood that, particularly when you're making decisions of law, that the lines between politics and law are not always neat, not always sharply defined. But if you're going to serve on the highest court, you have to use your best sense, your best judgment, your best reason to determine what counts as law.
Well, it's interesting that you put
politics aside.
It's really interesting you put it all like that. She did, I'm looking at some of her stances. She upheld abortion rights in Planned Parenthood cases against Casey. She supported the University of Michigan's law school's affirmative action program. Other conservatives would not have done that back then.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, she agreed that there ought not be a quota system, but she also did not use that as the measure to ban affirmative action policies completely. Universities, she argued, could use race in terms of determining admissions, but not have quota systems. So I think there is a prime example of the kind of balance that she brought to the court.
You know, to people who are much younger than we are, you know, 50 years it seems like a long time ago. It doesn't seem that much to me in terms of history. And it is amazing. 1981, the first woman appointed to the Supreme Court, and you look at how many women are serving there now.
Absolutely, and she's often quoted as saying, by the way, that she did not want to be the last woman to serve on the court, and therefore was highly cognizant of the fact that she needed to be successful if women were going to follow in her footsteps.
Wow!
And as you point out, Bill, who would have thought there'd be this many women on the court? And the fact that there are is a testament to Justice O'Connor's incredible.
Yep, they climbed her shoulders. There's no question like that. And the other women that followed. Professor Alexander Eodice, I really appreciate it and appreciate your insights here from Iona University. And I'm going to see you again. And thank you for joining us once again. You've been very good about coming on our shows.
Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Happy holidays, healthy holidays to you.
Happy holidays to you, Bill.
Thanks.